Man, what is going on in LA these past few days? I saw some things about some protests that went way out of control. People were throwing stuff at cars and nobody was being arrested. Decoy Voice, tell me what's going on, man.
The unruly mobs just took over Los Angeles, as it literally looks like it's been conquered, as the ICE protests
Because it literally has been conquered by weird, woke, leftist freaks who think they're Marxist.
were essentially encouraged by the mayor. More of these foreign voices started to show up in the streets.
And they all look like that guy. Skinny, weird nerds. Might be a chick. I don't know. These people confused everything.
Destroying parts of their own city.
Probably not. They probably don't live there. They probably live somewhere else.
As nothing stops federal law enforcement faster than lightly vandalizing your own streets. But finally, LAPD marched in to try to control things.
It literally sounds like a fucking war zone out there. What is happening?
When the protesters tried to breach the ICE facility,
Of course they tried to breach the ICE facility. That's probably what this whole thing's about, ain't it?
with people in black bloc attacking the building.
How are these people not fucking arrested immediately? Are we gonna have to get to the point where people are gonna start killing each other in the streets? Is that what it's gonna have to lead to before we start doing something about it? Like, what the fuck, man?
Even getting inside, tagging profanity on the vehicles they believed to belong to the feds. As street journalists and
That they believed to belong to the feds. For one, if they do belong to the feds, that's fucking insane. And another, if they think that they do and they actually don't, that's even more fucking insane.
Anthony Cabasa shows us, they're genuinely attacking them, crawling up and trying to sneak inside.
They're actually trying to end the lives of these men of service, let's say, because I'm not sure if they're police or if they're FBI or what, or if they're ICE. If somebody's trying to injure you, I think you can drop them, especially if you're the government. Like, come on, man. You can't just let this stuff happen. Letting this stuff happen is how we got to this point, and it's going to get much worse.
But at least they finally made some heavy-handed arrests. Using a barrage of pepper balls to back off the mobs. But unfortunately, Cabasa also got hit in the eye.
Yeah, they'll go around arresting whoever can get close enough to them with nobody around them. An easy fish. And then when journalists with cameras start coming around, that's who they shoot at. I think they wanted this to happen.
So major props to Anthony Cabasa for going out there and documenting the riots, as even after he got hit, he still went out there again, so make sure you follow him on X, as mainstream news outlets like Fox got chased off. Where the rioters even destroyed their news vehicle.
Right at the beginning, before we knew it was going to escalate to the situation that it got to. This is brand
Yeah, you shouldn't have probably let them know that you were like mainstream news, especially Fox.
new news truck that we just got. Looks like the tires were slashed. They busted into the windows. We'll see. Our personal bags were in the car. They stole all the stuff that was inside.
Fucking degenerates, man. Every single one of them. This is why I don't go to cities.
And even into the evening, journalist Aldo Buttazzoni also got chased off by the mob.
Yeah, these people are all just LARPing. They're LARPing a revolution. They think they're revolutionaries, but they're actually just playing games. And the government's letting them do it. Because they want it to get to the point where there's people fighting in the streets, because that's when they can have total control. That's when they can implement martial law. And the government loves to implement martial law. That's why they always bring it up anytime any kind of major anything happens. During COVID, I was hearing it all the time that there was going to be martial law and they were going to deploy the National Guard.
It's unfortunate it happened in front of the police, but sadly, they also had their hands full.
Step away from the vehicle! Step away!
Where the protesters were using a strobe light to blind the coppers to no arrests.
These aren't protesters, these are agitators. These are almost rioters. They almost want to have a riot. They know it would be bad, so they don't do that. So they just agitate and don't do anything.
So obviously, they escalated to tagging their MRAPs.
Okay, so they escalated to rioting. Again, they started out rioting, and then they ended up rioting.
Oh, okay.
Throwing rocks at their vehicles with zero worry about repercussions. And even a defenseless Waymo, those automated taxis, got destroyed.
Yeah, because they don't care. They're just out for destruction. They're out to have fun. They think it's fun.
And again, nothing stops the feds from enforcing the law than vandalizing a taxi that serves your community. But the local police seem pretty defenseless, as the mayor had openly spoke out against law enforcement.
Yeah, you want to know how to get a totalitarian government? Allow things like this to happen in the cities. Eventually something's got to give and they're going to get tired of it and they will just take over and there's nothing you're going to be able to do anything about it. Because what are you going to do when a bunch of guys with real guns come kick down your door because you threw a rock at a protest? And it needs to fucking happen. Or they're going to start doing that to literally everyone. Like they do in China.
Go ahead, dude. Raise that gun to me again.
Move! Let's move!
You gotta chill the out, Al. Chill the out. Chill the out. Chill the out.
And these guys are crazy, out there doxing that police officer, as there's no other reason to post this information next to that video.
That right there is what I call terrorism. These people, they're Hassan Pikerists.
Other than to try to intimidate them away from actually enforcing the law. So no wonder well into the next day, the Los Angeles streets still weren't under control, filled with protesters flying flags from all the countries
These aren't protesters, these are agitators.
they demand they are not sent to, or even the Fed vehicles are under attack.
Are we just gonna wait until feds start getting hurt and then we're gonna actually take complete control? No, they don't want half control. They don't want it to be toned down. They want complete control of everything. That's why they're letting these things happen.
Actually shattering the windshield and injuring the agent, as this guy in a yellow dirt bike helmet was
Yeah, this was a video that I saw. I don't think anything happened to this guy, did it?
throwing rocks at not only the marked patrol cars, but any random car driving by. So now the FBI's deputy director is looking for that specific guy, as these so-called protesters are under the assumption that in LA, local DAs don't really follow through with prosecution, but federal agencies under the Trump administration are going to react very differently, as these idiots started.
Yeah, because the leftists, the Democrats, and even Trump himself let all these things happen. When DC was on fire, when Minneapolis was on fire, should have deployed the troops and didn't. And then it's rolled out of control until we get all the way to now.
Trashing their own communities again, making these makeshift barricades out of shopping carts. And as Kabasa shows us, somebody mysteriously placed this fresh pallet of cinder blocks nearby. They were, of course, utilized in their garbage barricade.
Crazy how that happens. Every time. And then people come up with excuses like, no, they were using it for something. This was a work zone. Then how the fuck is it every single, in quotes, protest, there just happens to be crazy random bricks nearby? that end up being utilized in riots. Crazy coincidences. Always happening.
Made by fatherless behavior, which was easily discarded by the local sheriffs. But in multiple parts of the city, the rioters started fires, even burning vehicles while flying flags for Mexico.
There it is. Mexican flag can,
As honestly, I see this as a foreign invasion at this point. Military-age males flying another country's flag, fighting with our federal agents.
I don't even think this is a foreign invasion. I think that it's a retard invasion. All these people are retarded, and half of them are actually from America. I think half of them probably aren't, because half the people in LA, I think, aren't actually American at this point.
So it's good to see the feds finally fight back. And then some idiot goes crying online how her kid was affected in—
You brought your fucking kid to a dangerous protest where there was a police presence and violence happening. I feel so sorry for that kid, because you have a terrible parent and or parents, but probably just one parent.
the riots. Out of all the people I want arrested, I think the so-called mother deserves it the most, as you should know better than to bring your kid to this very volatile situation, unless, at best, you are using them as a prop for your protest.
No, human shield. Because if the kid gets hurt, then that gets clicks online.
And at worst, you were using them as a shield from repercussions.
100% that's what was going on. And for the clicks online.
Or at the very worst, you knew this would happen and are just looking for a taxpayer-funded lawsuit. As
True. Probably. That too. There's probably 10 reasons why they brought their child. To teach them about how to protest, how to riot, but also to use them as a human shield and clickbait.
this wasn't a protest, this was a riot, and Border Patrol wasn't playing games.
But at this point, like, even the peaceful people, get them out of there. People that are pointing with cameras and shit, just start hitting them with batons. If people can't not be violent in an area, get them out of there.
Even in the morning, they made it clear. Anybody who impedes our efforts is going to be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Probably should throw in a is gonna get beat and arrested.
And they were serious, arresting over a dozen agitators before the sun went down, with Viva Frey pointing out this is actually a rebellion or even insurrection. You would think the rioters would know the difference between yelling at local coppers that answer to your liberal mayor and the federal agents that got the green light from President Trump. But if these activists can't tell the difference between ICE and the DEA, I somehow doubt they know the justice system. So now California—
They don't know anything. All that they know is headlines that get pushed to them on their social media apps. And probably not even that. They probably only see other crazy people on, like, Threads or Blue Sky who talk about politics, who actually have nothing to do with politics, but talk about it all the time and are always wrong because they're just stupid, regular people who are even more stupid than the stupid, regular people. And then crazy people read these things online and they're like, yeah, I agree with that. I saw like 10 other people say the exact same thing. It must be true.
California's Governor Newsom says this is the Fed's fault, sowing chaos and escalating, and that is not the way a civilized country behaves. And he's correct. California looks nothing like civilization right now.
This is a third world country. This is not American civilization. The fuck is going on? What is happening? Why is this being allowed to persist?
So good thing they're deploying the National Guard.
So guess what? We're already ahead of the game. We're already mobilizing. We're going to bring National Guard in tonight. We're going to continue doing our job.
With President Trump stating, if Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass can't do their job, and we know they can't, that he'll step in and solve the issue the way it should be solved. And then promptly went out to go watch the UFC fight. With the governor crying about the 2,000 incoming soldiers, saying it will only escalate tensions. It's sad to see my taxes going to a guy that's essentially the mouthpiece for the rioters destroying the city that I escaped.
Well, escalate tensions further. I don't even care at this point. Just whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Violent people are gonna be violent. Fucking arrest them all. Arrest all of them. Arrest half the country if you have to. Because violence should not be fucking tolerated. Even if the majority thinks that violence is okay. Arrest the majority! Get them the fuck out of here! Fuck them all!
Then again, my tax dollars will go to repairing, so let me know what state I should move to in the comments. As in California, they arrested the president of the largest labor union at the riots. And in case you missed yesterday's video, there's a disgusting connection between the Democrats and cheap labor.
Why are you shipping these?
That's because they are the party of slavery, and that they always have been. They love slavery. They're just putting a different name on it now. Cheap labor from illegal immigrants. That's literally just fucking slavery, because you're paying them less than the legal amount to be paid. In most cases.
Immigrants up north, we need them to pick the crops down here.
What immigrants do for this country, or the fact that we are a country of immigrants.
Right.
We done picking cotton.
We are not a country of immigrants. People say this all the time. We are not a country of immigrants. And they say this referring to Americans here, that our ancestors were immigrants. Sure, that's the same pretty much anywhere in the world. Everybody's migrated to somewhere in the past that they didn't used to be. So get that shit out of here. Everywhere is a country of immigrants.
If we don't have avenues for people to come here legally to work or to build a home here, I'm going to be really crude right now. We're not going to have anybody around to wipe our asses.
Yeah, well, it's true. That is true. But note, she said, legally. Legally.
Because we don't have enough people.
They're so used to being openly bigoted within the party, they forget how horrendous this sounds. So now that we understand why liberal leadership wants—
That didn't even really sound all that bad. I kind of agreed with her. Just on that point, though, I bet the context is the ones who came here illegally should be made legal. I 100% guarantee that's the context. No. Arrest them and kick them out. Don't let them back in.
them around. Why exactly do regular citizens support this so much?
So there's unrest. Let's start with there's protests.
They always have something about their eyes, don't they? There's always something crazy about their eyes. And it's always blank behind their eyes.
Lawful protest, which is allowed in this country. There is some unrest.
Lawful protests, but some unrest is kinda catchier than fiery but mostly peaceful, but they've had 4 years to protect the lie, using anything to get you to believe the police are randomly snatching up families at work and not who they're actually arresting, like guys wanted for grape, known gang members, guys that attack their wives, and traffickers.
Actually, they do want police to be snatching up people at work, but they want them to be snatching up right-wing people and white people.
So these idiots in the street think they're being freedom fighters when they're actually just protecting the worst criminals in their community.
No, they're not. They think that they're tearing down the system. They're just lying about it. They think they're tearing down a system and building a better one in its place. A more inclusive system, where white people don't exist.
All in the name of providing cheap labor and even cheaper votes for the Democrats, while literally bankrupting the social services they likely rely on.
I think that's only 1% of it. I think that's definitely a factor with it, but I think it's 1% of it. I think it's distraction. We're distracted with it. We're not focused on other things that we should be focused on, like wars that are happening outside the country. It divides the cities. It makes the right-wing people leave the cities and the left-wing people stay, and like it just becomes under control of the left. And pretty soon they're going to be eating themselves. They're already doing that. As you can see, they're destroying their own cities.
It doesn't make sense, but that's what happens when you have more emotions than information. Don't doom scroll on social media all day when you have my concise, light-hearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, so subscribe to Decoy Voice, as we're undoubtedly going to cover the upcoming riots.
Same. I'll be watching for them. I'll be watching those upcoming riots. It's gonna get crazy. I think it's gonna get crazier than the last Summer of Love riots that we had. The COVID riots, whatever you want to call them, or the pre-COVID riots. Black Lives Matter protests. I think we're about to get crazier than that. Because people today are way crazier than they were. You got people actually on social media, big names, promoting terrorism. Absolutely insane. Leave a like and a comment. What do you think about this whole situation? I'm out.